This is the SHIB coin 1 month overview reading for the month of February 2024. It's currently December 28th, 2023, 5:59 p.m. Eastern Time. SHIB coin at the time of this reading is currently 0.00001062. That's 4 zeros after the decimal point, followed by a 1062. That's USD as well. And the shuffle video for the February Bitcoin reading was created on December 5th, 2023 at 3:48 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the corner. The overall theme and behavior for the month of February is it's interesting. We've got a significant move. It's very bullish. These are bullish cards, but I think we probably end near lows. So part of the month is very bullish, and then we end up at lows. There's a unicursal there as overlapping the theme card, indicating that we have at least one sharp drop that'll really stand out on a multi-day scale, and then it's crossed with the success card. So the Valor card will be bumping along resistance sideways, maybe breaking through and bumping along another resistance sideways. That's the theme combined with the success card, which is successfully turning resistance into new support. So we should do that momentarily, but be careful because that unicursal really. Behavior around the highest high. The highest high for the month, there'll be a resistance level highlighted near the high that we've met and failed to break through many times before. And then behavior around the lowest, though, multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance near the low. We also have highs and lows within close time proximity to each other. The high and the low card correlate to each other, in other words. Before we go any further, though, I want to make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel, which is the unwritten agreement between the universe and anybody utilizing this information for personal gain. The universe has no problem with you profiting from this information as long as you are simultaneously helping other people this information. So you must follow the rule of karma, or the universe is going to shut you off from the flow of abundance through this channel. So the way you do that is you go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. 5% of all profits that are made from the information of this channel should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your own. Just make sure you send 5% forward. Really easy to do here. Just click on the link and donate, and then 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel here through one of these links. It leaves you with 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow through on those rules, the universe considers you an angel investor. The channel is going to send it back to you tenfold. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. So each of the cards going left to right across the screen represents about 1 day of time. That you can see the dates are numbered above them and below them on the lower row. So important to understand that not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 1 day of time. So you have to give the reading, like the timing, in some cases, plus or minus a day of wiggle room. It does happen, but it's not all the time. Most of the time, it's right on point. But in cases where we do need a little wiggle room, just make sure to follow the sequence of chart behavior as outlined in the prediction, because that's not gonna change. Even if we were plus or minus a day here or there, the sequence of events will keep you on track. On the first, we have a fast sudden move higher that'll stand out on a multi-day scale. There's also a trade opportunity there. I'm going to talk about in more detail in the paid version. We have 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level on the second. The third cross is back to the upside of that price level, and it confirms a bullish trend, taking us into a peak. It looks like into a peak on the third. There's a prominent peak early in the day, a trade opportunity there. It looks like there's a day trade opportunity there. I'm going to talk about that in more detail in the paid version. But from that prominent peak early in the day, we declined pretty notably. The Princess of Discs indicates a lot of price change covered, and there's a support level that, on probably like a 1-year chart scale or a year-to-date chart scale, that'll be highlighted around that Princess of Discs. This is also where we see our first unicursal hexagram kind of energy. This is one of the higher probable locations. This is probably the strongest probable location of a sharp drop, like a unicursal drop, and it looks like we probably do that into the 5th. There's more decline on the 4th, more unicursal hexagram energy, a trade opportunity at the end of the day, and then it looks like we go from a lower trough on the 5th. From that lower trough, we go higher into a prominent peak towards the end of the day on the 5th. The chart behavior leading into the 5th is going to be significantly negative, and it'll lead us to believe we're going to go lower on the 5th, but instead we go higher even in the face of that chart behavior, or maybe there's like overwhelming headwinds there. On the 6th, we have another prominent peak towards the end of the day, and there's a notable shakeout on a multi-day scale that's highlighted. This is the sort of thing that's sort of intentional in most cases. Yeah, a lot of price change covered there. All right, so it's difficult to determine what that fake out is, but there should be a peak and a sharp drop starting from that peak there at the end of the day on the 6th. Decline continues, increasing with momentum into the 7th. We have another peak early in the day on the 8th, or prominent peak, I should say, early in the day on the 8th, followed by another sharp decline to a prominent trough for the month early in the day on the 9th. And that'll be a notable decline to reach it, like especially on the cusp of the 8th night, but into the 9th. Early in the morning, there's a prominent trough there, and we'll be revisiting a support level that we recently met once before. I'll talk about that price level in more detail in the paid version. Then we have a significant amount of price change out of that trough on the 9th to the upside, taking us to a key resistance level. There's a lot of volatility, but a key resistance level on the 10th. A lot of volatility there around that resistance level, and a decline off of that resistance into the 11th, but that decline ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us to another prominent peak on the 11th, and then we probably revisit it on the 12th with some sideways bumping along resistance. We go from a peak early in the day on the 12th, and we decline from that with consecutively lower spikes up into a trough towards the end of the day on the 12th, and then an unexpected move higher, especially early in the morning on the 13th, to another prominent peak, followed by bearish price swings and a sharp drop on the 14th, and then a breakout on a multi-day scale to the upside on the 15th, through probably the resistance that we saw around the 11th, 12th. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the December reading and see how we're doing thus far. There's only a little bit left of December. All right, so we nailed that low. We had the low on the very first day, and we absolutely nailed that. We did have another low around the 4th, and it looks like we came all the way back after these highs. We came all the way back down almost to the low. So that's pretty solid. There was a prominent peak on the 4th, prominent peak, and then a prominent trough on the 6th as well. Yeah, we had this big move to the upside and then another trough. Our first highest high I had around the 10th, and it looks like we're pretty close. It was quite close to right there, but if you look at it from the candlesticks side, we nailed that. And then it looks like I did the same thing that I did, I think, in another December reading where I missed this Ace of Swords as the highest high, which, oh, look, I did nail it. The highest high there on the 16th. Boom, I did nail that. Excuse me. I had one for between the 16th and the 19th, and it was right there on the 16th or the 17th, depending on what you count, the wick or the body of the candle. All right, notable opportunity on the 20th. That's that Fool card. And then I have more lows, like 27th and the 30th. I saw as lowest low, so a little bit off there. But pretty close, especially for like a month where it's like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's pretty tough to get that when you're looking at like minuscule price change as far as these big moves. We're talking about like fractions of a cent, so that becomes very difficult to nail right on the day. But we did a pretty darn good job there, especially if you take into consideration that the December reading was created on October 8th, 2023. We're using it today, and it was created October 8th. October, November, December. It's like 2 months ahead of the markets, guys. Nailed that. Let's get back into it. All right, so that breakout on the 15th takes us into an even higher price level on the 16th. And then we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level around the 17th. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we usually revisit an opportunity that we recently saw. It's often a crest, but it's so erratic, it could be a trough as well. It's really hard to say. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like we're revisiting a crest there on the 17th in the midst of that erratic behavior. We have sideways rotation on the 18th, establishing support, and then a big move higher, followed by more sideways rotation at a higher price level there on the 18th. Momentarily, on the 19th, we should successfully turn support or resistance into support around there on the 18th, around the 18th, 19th. But that's before a decline to and through support on the 19th to meet another support, and then we rotate sideways along that support into another significant low on a 1 month scale there early in the day on the 20th. Matter of fact, sideways rotation on the 19th turns into a rally somewhere around the cusp of the 19th, 20th, but that rally is halted. Okay, so we go from a really prominent peak or crest on the early in the day on the 19th, or around the cusp of the 19th, 20th, to a significant decline through key support into a prominent trough on midday on the 20th. And then sideways rotation around that trough, followed by around the 21st, followed by at the end of that sideways rotation with a fast sudden move higher. From that peak, that fast sudden move higher creates a peak on the 22nd. We sell off from that crest down to and through support to do a U-shaped reversal below that support, come back and reuse it as support. And then there's an important resistance level on the 23rd that's highlighted where we should flatten out volatility. Wise should flatten out around that price level at least momentarily before we see another big move to the upside on the 24th. I left out this is the second highest probable location of a sharp drop. So if we have a sharp drop here, it doesn't mean that we won't have one here. We can have one in both places. These are really the strongest locations for a sharp drop. I think we probably go from a high to a low right here around the 18th, 19th, 20th. We go from a high to a low here, right? And then I think we probably do it again here, this big move to the upside here on the 24th, bumping along resistance sideways eventually, and then we have from a peak all the way to a trough, a prominent peak to a prominent trough somewhere around the 25th. I think we probably have the prominent peak around the 24th, 25th, and then we decline pretty notably, especially on the cusp of the 25th, 26th, into a significant trough early in the day on the 27th. And out of that trough, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line, but that rally ends with a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down there. On the 29th, I'm advised to be cautious. Some sort of tricky sharp behavior there that'll make you do the wrong thing most likely, so you want to be very cautious not to do something impulsive around the 20th, 28th. Yeah, it looks like there's a move to the upside there. We might have another like significant peak on the 28th, but I'm advised to be cautious around that peak. We sell off from that peak pretty notably on the 29th. And then sneak preview for the following month is a big move higher, pushing the upper end of a multi-day range higher, but there's also probably a year's low there. We'll talk about all that in more detail, how the February reading fits into the bigger picture in the paid version. As far as highest highs and lowest lows, so highest probable location of highest highs is going to be around the 11th, 12th, and then maybe again around the 15th, 16th. Lowest lows, it looks like we have around the 19th, 20th, and then around the 25th, 26th again, 27th. So highest high thus far around the 3rd, lowest low thus far around the 5th, highest high thus far around the 6th, and then we go into higher price levels here around the 11th, 12th, and around the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. It's hard to place it exactly. Sharp drop into lowest low again, and this will be lowest low, I think, for the month thus far, or for the month period, and then another highest high here around the 24th, 25th. Matter of fact, it might not be a highest. It's hard to say, but we could come back to highest highs here. We could come back to highest highs again around the 24th, 25th, 26th, followed by another lowest low. Very, very strong possibility of lowest lows again. There is a possibility of highest highs, but it's hard to place exactly. And that's Shipcoin for February 2024. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, guys, so from the standpoint of the multi-year reading, what I've been seeing is this, we keep coming up against this resistance roughly, right? And bumping along resistance, multiple failed attempts to break through resistance. But now there's like this is deceptively bearish, the sorrow card, but it has a strong correlation to the adjustment card, indicating that there should be a significant move to the upside at some point in 2024. From the standpoint of trading, we want to make sure that we're taking profits here in the early part of February before we get into price swings. We're probably going to see a higher price level in March. But there's some price swinging, right? And we get into lows here at the end of February. So I probably take profits right here around the 3rd based on the Princess of Discs. And then it gets kind of wild. I'd want to like stand back and watch for a bit. And then around the trough there, I want to be getting into a long position around the 26th, 27th in anticipation of a highest high there. We might go a little lower into March, but there's a highest high in there. I would definitely only open a partial short though because of this here. We go lower and then higher. We go lower and then higher there. All right, so cash out of longs here on the 3rd. Also, on the first, there's an opportunity to open up a long position in the midst of a one-day chart decline. There'll be a big move out of that decline from the bottom of a one-day range to the top of a one-day range, like on a one-day chart scale relevancy. So when we're in the midst of a decline on the first, look for us to meet the bottom of an important range on a one-day chart, and then open up a long for that big move to the upside, which will continue into the third at a peak. I'd cash out of the long position there. You could open up a short position there, which you could close end of day on the 4th after a sharp decline, or midday on the 5th. But if you wait till the 5th, it gets a little hairy there, because we could go significantly higher out of the low, and if you miss it, you're going to be riding a move to the upside. All right, if we see the same price level that we saw on the 5th, if we see that same price level, the price level of the peak on the 5th, like after there's that trough on the 5th, big move to the upside, probably at the end of the day on the 5th, either that or it's on the 6th. But if it's on the 5th, we'll probably revisit it on the 6th. And if we do revisit that price level on the 6th, that would be like a place where I'd want to enter into a short position, and I'd hold that short position until the morning of the 9th, where we revisit a support level we recently saw once before, probably the support from the lowest low that we established on the 4th, 5th. There might be an opportunity to add to that short and early in the day on the 8th. And then when I get out of that short, when we're revisiting a support level we recently saw before, I'd open up a long position in anticipation of this big move, Ace of Swords move to a highest high here on the 10th, or a higher one on the 11th. All right, so after this erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level around the 17th, where we revisit a crest that was an opportunity, we'll then do some sideways rotation established in support, followed by a big move higher on a multi-day scale, followed by sideways rotation at higher support. When we make that big move higher and then that sideways rotation at higher support around the 18th, I would open up a short position before this significant decline. It's probably going to be like a highest high around the 18th, 19th. I'd be looking for a highest high price level there, where we have a prominent move higher sideways rotation, right? That highest high price level around the 18th, 19th, I'd look to open up a short, and I'd close that short at a lowest low around the 20th. If I'm wrong about the 20th, I'd hold that short until the 26th. And if I have opportunity, if I'm wrong about the 20th and I have opportunity between the 26th and wherever I picked up the short, I'd probably add to that short in anticipation of the decline there on the 26th, 27th, right? We've got the sorrow card appearing here. Its cousin, the peace card, and I saw the truce card, and the truce card over here. It's two cousins. Okay, and something that I left out is, so this is the Princess of Swords here in early February. It's indicating that there's a resistance level there that'll be highlighted, that we could trade both directions based on the chart behavior around that resistance. So usually you'll get an opportunity to like either trade into it and then out of it, or trade out of it and then back into it. And it looks like it's out of it and then back into it. Right, so cash out opportunity here, and then there's that cross-street congruency Ace of Swords there back at highs. So this price level is probably revisited around the 19th, 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. It's kind of hard to place. Oh, and that other place where we might have another sharp drop, it's not as strong a probability as the 3rd, 4th, and the 19th, 20th kind of areas, but it is possible we could have another sharp drop around the 25th, 26th. Probably do, actually. As far as overall performance of SHIB to Bitcoin, the comparative performance of SHIB versus Bitcoin throughout the same February 2024 period, you can see how they mimic each other very well. Right, we've got a unicursal here on the 17th, 18th. We've got a unicursal here. Highs around the 11th through the 14th, 15th. Again, around here around the 5th, 6th. Probably at the 2nd, 3rd. We have a low around the 7th. This is all looking pretty solid, but I think SHIB probably outperforms. Let's see. Yeah, SHIB outperforms Bitcoin in the month of February 2024. And that's a paid version of SHIB for February. Thank you so much for supporting the channel with the paid version. And as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.